Hey everyone, CFL Park Hopper here, and today I'm at Disney's Wilderness Lodge Resort, and we're going to talk about what it's like to be at one of the theme parks on vacation when there is a hurricane. So what I talk about today is going to be relatable to whether you're staying at Walt Disney World or even Universal Orlando and you're here during hurricane time, and what would happen while you're here. Alright, so first up, let's talk about why you would be here during a hurricane. So sometimes storms pop up pretty fast, and you were probably already on your trip, and all of a sudden they could be like, oh, we're gonna have to kind of close down for a hurricane for a couple of days. If you're already staying at a resort, either Walt Disney World or Universal, of course you'll definitely be allowed to continue to stay. It could be also a day you're planning to check out, but perhaps airports are now closing and you can't get your flight home. So that can be a little more stressful, because if you're already planning on leaving your resort on the day that a hurricane may be coming, it may be hard to continue to find a reservation at your same resort. But if you talk to the front desk at your resort, if they can't accommodate you, hopefully another resort on their property can, or you can find something, if you need to in an emergency. But hopefully another resort could accommodate you if the actual hotel you're staying at couldn't any longer. Or let's say you're trying to fly in and all of a sudden your flight gets canceled. Disney and Universal are both really good at accommodating and adjusting your trip, accommodating your park tickets that you may already have, extending those and things like that, canceling dining reservations, adjusting. So either way, yes, it will be stressful trying to get all your arrangements made right away, but know that the parks and resorts will work with you as best they can to continue to help you during this time. With that being said, I think staying at a Walt Disney World Resort Hotel or a Universal Resort Hotel is one of the safest places to be in the middle of an actual storm. Their resorts are all run on generators, so in the event that anything should lose power, your hotel would still have power. And as we're walking around here in the Wilderness Lodge, you can see this is a pretty sturdy building. The floors go up several floors, and these are rooms on either side in the lobby here. And there's the elevator, so you would have main access in the main building. You wouldn't have to go outside. And the restaurant, there's one right here, and there's a quick service restaurant down this way. You would have access to that without going outside. So this is one of the deluxe resorts at Walt Disney World, and being here during a storm would be great, because like I said, you would not have to go outside like people are walking right now in the event that you needed to get to food. However, if you stay at some of the value resorts or moderate resorts, those are resorts that are kind of built more like motel room style, where you would have to walk from your building to the main building to get food. And just know that if you're staying at one of those and a hurricane happens, you're going to have to kind of stock up on some food and items to keep in your room during the time that we consider hunker down time, where you would not be allowed to be outside, where the winds would be over a certain amount of speed. And that could be up to 24 hours sometimes, or a little over. So depending on the size of the storm and how fast it's moving, in those type of resorts, you would have to definitely plan to have food and water and things already in your hotel. Now, I think it's important to have realistic expectations of the theme parks and the resorts while you're here for a hurricane. So theme parks will have to close at a certain point during hurricanes. They could be closed for half a day, they could be closed for a whole day. Sometimes they might close early one evening, have the storm roll through, and then try to open up the next day by the afternoon or evening, depending on how quickly the storm leaves. So just know that there will be some time, again, that's considered what we call hunker down time, where you're going to have to stay inside your resort. But the parks will do their best effort to get everything back up and running as quickly as possible to get you back into the parks. But I think having that expectation that things will be closed will help you to understand ahead of time what will happen, and not necessarily be disappointed or upset when things are closed. Also, let's talk about food for a minute. We're looking at the Whispering Canyon Cafe. Some restaurants at your resort, they may go to limited menus, or they may offer only certain things and a certain time. Because remember that the people who work here, the cast members at Walt Disney World and the team members at Universal, they all have family and homes in the Orlando area, and a lot of them will be sent home for the duration of the storm, and so they will have less staff on property. Now, they will, of course, have staff here helping you, serving you, and whatnot, but keep in mind that some things may be at more of a limited capacity. But one cool thing that I have noticed about the deluxe resorts is that a lot of times they'll have activities to do here in the lobby area Sometimes they'll put a movie on, sometimes they'll have character meet and greets, and different activities and things to kind of pass the hours, and so you're not just cooped up in the four walls of your hotel room waiting out the storm. So that can make it a little more enjoyable. Now, once the parks do open back up, keep in mind that it could be very soggy weather as it is here today. This is the day after Tropical Storm Nicole, and it is still rainy here. So even though the wind is completely gone and it's safe to be outside now, you're definitely going to want to have rain gear at the parks, because sometimes the rain can continue to linger for an additional 24 hours after a storm, and it can be pretty wet. Also at the parks, keep in mind that they will limit at Walt Disney World park pass reservations during the time of a hurricane, again because they may have less cast members. So if you don't already have park pass reservations for a park, it may be hard to get one the day that they open back up or the day right after. They also may offer less rides and shows and things inside the park as well, based on how quickly they can open things up, how many cast members or team members at Universal they have working, and things like that. So again, just having that expectation that things will be limited right away once things open up is more of a realistic expectation, I think, than expecting, oh, I'm just going to go right back to the parks and everything is going to be back to normal. Depending how hard hit the storm was, it will depend how quickly they can return to normal. But just know that Walt Disney World and Universal will strive to get everything back to 100% operation as fast as possible within hopefully a 24-hour turnaround time of the storm leaving the area. Now, one positive thing from the whole experience could be that dining reservations will open up at hard-to-get places. Like here we're looking at Artist Point, which is a storybook dining experience with Snow White and friends here at the Wilderness Lodge, and it's really hard to get reservations here. However, a lot of people will cancel their trip because, you know, they can't get here and things like that with the storm. So a lot of people will cancel. Dining reservations will open up, and you may be able to get a hard-to-get dining reservation if you're here during this time that you wouldn't have been able to get because things will open up. Also, a lot of times, because this happens in the fall with hurricanes, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party can be sold out and all of a sudden have a bunch of tickets available for the night once the parks open back up, if it's a party night, because a lot of people, again, cancel their trip and now aren't able to make it. So there are some positive perks to the storm as well that can really help you with your trip. Things that you might not have gotten to do could open up, and it could be really cool experiences that you wouldn't have gotten if there wasn't a storm. So to recap, I do think if you're already here on vacation, definitely try to stick it out, you know, if it's feasible for your trip or if it's in the middle of your trip, because I do think you can still have an enjoyable experience while here during a hurricane, and you can make the best of it. Granted, it won't be, you know, as full of an experience as it would be if all the parks were fully open for those couple of days, but you'll be in one of the safest places you can be during a hurricane, and, you know, you can try to make the most of it. If it's at the end of your trip and you're stuck here for a few extra days, I hope it goes in your favor and you get good accommodations and you're able to stay safe and maybe have a little extra fun. And if it's the beginning of your trip and it delays your trip, I hope you can get everything to work out as well. So I hope this gives you a good overview of what would happen if you were in Orlando during a hurricane. If you liked today's video, hit like and subscribe down below to see more, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new video, which is usually once a week. And also subscribe on social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. CFL Park Hopper on all three. Thanks for watching.